James Lynch here for MiddleEasy, joined by Neil Magny, who's going to be taking on Geoff Neal coming up here at UFC Fight Night on May 8th. Neil, how's it going, man?
It's going great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for joining me. It's always good to talk to you, man. I love this fight. We'll talk about it in 1 second, but first, I got to talk about what everyone's been talking about, which is this Ben Askren, Jake Paul thing. Did you watch it on the weekend? And if so, what did you think?
I did not watch it. I didn't have the time to, but I did get to catch the highlights. It was pretty much the entire fight. And it was kind of disappointing because I expected more out of Ben Askren. The guy's been a world champion of multiple organizations, so I definitely thought he can hold his own in the boxing world. But Jake Paul proved that wrong. So props out to him. I mean, I was definitely disappointed in the outcome of that fight.
Was this the right amount of time off in between fights from your last one to this one in terms of taking this fight on May 8th?
It's a little too much time if you ask me. But I feel like it was just enough time to make the necessary adjustments and get myself in the right place mentally and physically to go out there and be successful. So even though I don't like the time off, I think it was actually beneficial this time around.
Was this a fight you wanted? You two were linked before to a fight. Was this the right opponent for you now? Because again, like I mentioned, Neal was supposed to fight you before he had all the health issues.
Yeah, I mean, I respect Geoff Neal for a while. He's done great things in this sport thus far. He was undefeated up until he fought Stevie Thompson in the last fight. And even then, he took some gritty decisions. So the guy's a great athlete. He's a great fighter. So to go out there and test myself against the quote-unquote young up-and-comer, that's the kind of fight that I'm getting excited for. So I definitely look forward to this one.
Even though you're fighting Geoff Neal, I still see people talking about this thing with you and Khamzat Chimaev. What was the latest? So he wanted to fight you, but only fight you in July. He needed that much time off. And now, I just went on your Instagram. I was just, trying to find some, if you're doing anything else. It's filled with Chimaev fan comments. How annoying is that to deal with this, leading up to your fight?
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating. It's one of the things that I have to practice zoning out. In the back of my mind, I'll fight Chimaev any day of the week. I mean, it's not something that worries me at all. But at the same time, it does occupy space in my mind, so I can't allow the whole talk about Chimaev and what he may do or may not do to kind of distract me from what's on the table. I mean, right now I have a pretty tough fight in my hands against Geoff Neal, so I can't allow myself to get distracted with Chimaev talk. If he wants to fight after the Geoff Neal fight, I'm more than willing to give him that opportunity, but for now it's all hands on deck to get ready for Geoff Neal.
Yeah, and I think the annoying thing, too, is you're not going to wait till July. You want to fight in between there. That's why you took this fight against Geoff Neal. So this idea that, you're ducking Chimaev, it's no, you want to get a fight in between there. You don't want to wait on the sidelines till then. Plus, you had this whole thing happen last time where you had agreed to fight him, right? And then he ended up getting Leon Edwards. So, I mean, do you think that fight would even happen anyways just because of the fact that it didn't last time?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's all talk, dude. The guy's just out there saying whatever comes to mind and hoping it sticks. I mean, he went as far as saying he'll fight Usman, Adesanya, and Jan Blachowicz all in the same night. It's dude, it's all cap. This guy is not out there trying to fight these legit guys. I mean, he had an opportunity to fight me back in December when Leon Edwards was forced to pull out of his fight, and him and his camp chose not to. So the idea that I'm afraid of him or I'm ducking him or I'm waiting for the right time to fight him, it's all false. I mean, the ball was in his court in December, on December 19th to fight me, and he chose not to. He chose to try to wait, and he ended up having to pull out of the fight. So the matter is out there. The fact that I'm willing to fight him any day of the week is out there. The ball's in his court now as far as when he decides to step up.
If you could give a percentage, what percentage do you think you two will ever fight? Because again, you said, you had the opportunity to fight you. Now he's calling you out again. It just seems like this isn't going to ever happen.
I was pretty hopeful at first, and if you were asking this question 3-4 months ago, I would say probably 98% sure that this fight's going to happen. But seeing how he's just all over the place, he can't stick to one particular thing, I'm getting less and less confident this fight would actually take place.
Let's talk about Geoff Neal. That's the fight you're actually having on May 8th. That's the opponent that's in front of you. Style-wise, how do you look at this fight? Because obviously Neal, great striker, really fast guy. How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I feel like I match up well against him. This guy's very strong. He's very explosive. Like you mentioned, he's a pretty good striker as well. So I feel like I match up well against him because I feel like he's going to bring the best out of me. In fights prior, kind of like the Robbie Lawler fight, I mean, I get to fight these guys who are great athletes, but there's always that asterisk in the back of a lot of people's minds saying that maybe this guy's over the hill. Maybe he's at the tail end of his career. Maybe this guy is 1,000 other excuses. But with Geoff Neal, that's not the case. This guy's he's young, he's aggressive, he's talented. He has all the tools to be a world champion. So to go out there and test myself against a young up-and-comer like Geoff Neal, I'm super excited about that.
Training camp, who are you getting to work with for this one? Same cast of characters or anyone different?
Yeah, 100%. The same group of guys. I mean, I feel like Boyan is a pretty good push for me this training camp, and Drew Dober as well. I mean, those guys are some of the hardest hitting southpaws that have ever participated in this sport. So having those guys in my training camp, I'm more than confident I go out there and get the job done.
Did you work at all with Kamaru Usman for his fight? At the time of recording this, he's fighting on Saturday against Jorge Masvidal.
Not too much. He and I don't get much opportunity to work with one another just because of where we fall in camp. I mean, he was fighting a guy with a different style and build than I am, and the same thing for me. I mean, if I was fighting a powerful wrestler again, I definitely would make that happen. But for this particular training camp, he and I were fighting two completely different people, and with the amount of time we were allowed to get ready for the fight camps, it just didn't make sense for us to get most rounds in with each other. That
makes sense. What about Justin Gaethje? You get to work with him at all?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even though Gaethje's an orthodox fighter and I'm fighting a southpaw, I definitely got an opportunity to get some rounds with Gaethje. I mean, he's probably the hardest hitting, if not one of the hardest hitting guys in the sport. So being able to use range, use techniques to kind of avoid those heavy, powerful shots would definitely play a beneficial factor in a fight against Geoff Neal. So I definitely got a couple rounds with Gaethje's training camp as well.
Weight cut going well ahead of this one? You never really have issues making 170?
Yeah, it's going great. I mean, I finally made the switch from bacon to turkey sausage this morning. So
there you go. Baby steps.
Start my slow descent down to 170 pounds.
Yeah. Are you a bacon and eggs guy, or do you just like bacon in general?
Oh, 100%. I mean, bacon and eggs all day long, or bacon.
Same here. I love bacon and eggs. Like that's like, and it's actually like people act like it's really unhealthy. It's not, because you get you get some fat in there, and you get the eggs. Obviously, there's some protein. So I'm a big fan of bacon and eggs. So I'm with you there. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
So for this corner, I'm going to have Christian Allen and Boyan in my corner for this fight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was unfortunate that Cody Donovan couldn't make it out this fight. He's cornering Mo Thursday night for the PFL, and then with the logistic things lining up, he just wasn't able to make it out to Vegas for this fight. But I feel like I'm in great hands with Christian and Boyan. This type of fight that I'm expecting to bring to Geoff Neal. So I'm excited for this matchup in the corners that I have going into it.
Yeah, it's crazy with PFL with their quarantining. Like, I get it, we're in a pandemic right now, but that's crazy. Some of those guys have to quarantine, 17 days you were seeing? I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I mean, if this was a year ago, we were still trying to figure this thing out and try to understand how to have fights in the midst of a pandemic. I'd agree with the quarantine 100%. But so far, every other organization throughout the world, or U.S. for that matter, has figured out a way to put fights on without having these ridiculously long quarantines. I mean, UFC has a pretty good system going. Bellator has a good system going. LFA has a pretty good system going. So I don't think you have to go out there and reinvent the wheel at this point in order to make these fights happen. But I guess you can never fault someone for being too cautious, especially in the time we're in right now.
How do you see this fight playing out on May 8th?
I feel this fight playing out great for me. I mean, like I said, he's an explosive guy. He's a powerful guy, and I'm expecting to come out aggressive from the bell. So I'm going to go out there and just kind of meet him in the middle like I did against Robert Lawler, just bring the fight to him, be in his face the entire time to get the finish.
How many fights do you have left on your contract, do you know?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Okay, no worries. No, I was just curious because obviously, I know you want to keep active this year. I'm sure want to get back in there. This will be, fight number 2 for you this year. So you probably want, I would assume another fight, 3 fights a year. That's usually what most fighters want, correct?
Yeah, 3-4 fights a year is the kind of the pace I like to keep, so to speak. So being able to go out there, win against Geoff Neal, and keep climbing the ranks, I mean, I feel like that'll be an ideal pace for me to set this year.
Like I mentioned, time of recording this, we got the title fight tomorrow between Usman and Masvidal. I'm sure you're siding with Usman, even if you weren't training at the same gym as him, because he's such a big favorite. He's like minus 400. What about the winner? Dana White's now saying it might be Colby next. We've got Leon Edwards fighting Nate Diaz. I think the winner of that might have a case. And then you've got Wonderboy and Gilbert Burns. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Because I'm sure you pay attention to what's going on at the top of your division.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is frustrating that my division just has that like a bunch of prima donnas as far as like guys trying to write out what they did their last fight as opposed to going out there and making a statement. to solidify themselves fighting for a title. But at this point, I think it's a toss-up. I think it just comes down to how well Leon Edwards does against Nate Diaz. If he goes out there and gets like a drawn-out decision when that's not necessarily too exciting or whatever, I think it'll be kind of difficult for him to get the title shot over Covington. But I think we can go out there and really put his skill sets on display and show the world why he deserves to fight for a title. I have no doubt in my mind Leon Edwards should be the next guy fighting for a title.
Any update on Alistair Overeem? Is he in the gym or is he back home? What's the latest with him? Because obviously, you know, some people were surprised to see him get released from the UFC.
Yeah, he's been in the gym this week. He's been working on a couple of different things, just kind of putting out his different options that he has for himself right now. But I kind of like where his head's at. He's kind of still motivated, still in the gym, trying to get better across the board in every different area. So I'm definitely excited to see where his career ends up next.
And before we go, how's Fatherhood going? You know, you're kind of a veteran now, right? It's been enough time where, you know, you kind of got things down. You got the TV shows, probably got a good routine going on. How's all that going?
Man, it's great. Like, this thing is like, it's a new challenge every day, and it's just amazing to watch my son grow more and more into like this little individual. I mean, the cool part is to see how much he mimics me. Like, everything from like how I pick out my hair to how I brush my teeth, he's right there trying to mimic my every action. So it's pretty cool having like that set of eyes on you to help keep you honest and accountable.
Yes,
but
that too, I noticed that as well. It's like I got to be careful when my son's around because it's like I don't want him picking up bad habits or whatever, you know. So
for sure, yeah. So it's been amazing, dude. Like literally every single week is a different journey. I mean, this guy is growing like a weed. He's picking up things day in and day out. So it's exciting, dude. I'm enjoying it every single day.
And I'm going to enjoy this fight, man. May 8th, UFC Fight Night. Neal, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it. Anyone watching this, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Awesome, I appreciate it. I mean, I just want to thank my team for constantly pushing me. Elevation Fights team, we're definitely the best in the world for a reason. And I think we're just going to go out there and show why this year again. So I just appreciate the team that I have supporting me, and look forward to giving the fans a great show on May 8th.